So Ganesh, Diane, great to be here with you. Thank you for being here. We are talking a lot within the beyond neoliberalism context of industrial strategy, industrial policy. I'm never quite sure, actually. Policy or strategy? Let's do a speed round first.
Strategy if they're joined up, policy if not.
I agree with that. I think it's policy regardless of what you're doing, but a strategy means you have some sort of coherent theory of why you're doing it and what you're trying to accomplish.
I mean, to me, regardless of what word you're using, it's about the state making some choices to use public power and decision making in ways that direct the economy for the public good.
There's no neutral position you can take that makes no choices, because to make no choice is to make a choice.
Yeah.
Thinking strategically, thinking long term is another way of thinking about strategy. Looking back at the mistakes of the past 40 years or so of economic policy, which sectors, which tools are you going to use to sustain livelihoods, production, value creation in the future?
I think of neoliberalism in economic policy as really having four components: deregulation, privatization, trade liberalization, and austerity. Austerity, we don't want to spend money. And often things in industrial policy, whether that's subsidizing certain infant industries or new technologies, research and development, infrastructure, take spending.
Yeah.
And then finally is trade liberalization, which, over many decades was really taken to a degree of not just faith, but really religious doctrine.
Yeah.
That there could be no wrong to really outsource everything and offshore it to other countries. And that we didn't need to make anything at home.
COVID, war in Ukraine, various financial crises kind of created a situation where we all woke up to the idea that, oh, okay, wait a minute, we do need resiliency, not just efficiency, not just market efficiency.
People recognize, with particularly the constraints in supply chains, that it actually does matter that some things are made in the United States. The rising power of China, particularly in technology, and its growing speed with which it is improving and indigenizing technology itself at home, I think is something else that is pushed for a recognition that actually having so much dependence on China for core technological elements is dangerous.
There's a profound tension that you're underlining between a national industrial strategy and globalized capital and production. And so if you think, as the UK does, that AI and technology is one of your potential growth sectors, there are huge tensions now within the government and beyond about exactly what should be the conditions for big American tech companies to have access to all that created content.
Technologies are just technologies. The telephone was a radical new technology when it was new. The telegraph was a radical new technology. We don't think of them that way, but they were transformative. The railroad, similarly. And it turns out we can regulate these things. One of the concerns that I have going forward is that people think that in order to be innovative, you can't do any sort of governance of these companies, when that is just flat wrong.
I am concerned about the market power of big tech companies because I don't see very effective resistance against them on the part of other governments. But I'm also optimistic about the technology because it does create lots of new opportunities.
I am concerned about the decline of state capacity in the United States. In terms of something I'm optimistic about, I think I've been surprised in the early days so far of the Trump administration that the regulators, the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission have been more consistent than I had thought they might be with the positions of the Biden administration, at least in some areas. It's not been totally consistent, but one could have imagined a very, very stark shift, and I think there's been a little bit more continuity there. And I think that's a cause for some optimism, particularly when we think about the power of tech companies.